So many people say to me, I just can't draw faces. And I always just think, no, it's just that you're at this stage of learning. And if you did practice, you would move up the stages. It's really hard to go from one stage to the other, but you can do it. You can absolutely do it. So what are these 5 stages that I'm talking about? Well, I've got a bonus one first, which is stage 0. Now, I think some of my favorite portrait drawings are at stage 0. This is when my daughter was 3 years old. My son is 4. He does drawings like this right now. They're so interesting and unique. She was looking at me. This is a portrait of me. But now she's 7 years old and she's kind of downloaded all the symbols that we use as standards to represent the features of the face, eyes, nose, and mouth. And she kind of reproduces those. 99% of human beings, when they're drawing a face, they use these standardized symbols, and that's it. If you try to learn how to draw faces from observation, from life, from reference, at first, this really strong set of symbols competes with what your eyeballs are saying. So you've got a pre-prepared set of symbols, and then you've got what you're actually seeing, which is completely different. And the two fight each other on the page. And very often when I'm seeing beginner drawings, I really enjoy them. I find them really interesting because I love anyone who's trying to learn how to draw. I love that sincere effort that they're putting in. And very often it's really visible in the struggle on the page you can see between all those symbols that are trying to force their way in and then what they're actually seeing. And often they're really disappointed in their drawing because it looks kind of distorted, but I can just see that battle that's happened. And I really appreciate people for fighting that battle and trying to get through this stage 1. Stage 2, some people go through this stage, and not everyone. I did, where you basically just try and copy a photo as best you can. So you're so annoyed basically by these symbols, keep pushing in. So what can you do? Well, if I copy every single little thing exactly like the photo, like a photocopy machine, then these symbols will have no space to get in there. I'm not going to put any of myself in the picture. I am just going to completely base it on the reference. Every tiny little detail. Lots of rubbing out, lots of this and that. You learn a lot doing this. You learn how to observe. Oh, this is slightly higher than this. This should be slightly lighter. This should be slightly darker. You learn how to use your pencil. You learn all of this cool stuff, right? But it's a very, very dangerous stage. What can happen to some people, very hardworking people, people with a lot of attention to detail and determination. So not people like me. I didn't get stuck in this phase because I hated it because the pictures would take too long and it'd be too boring. But a lot of people who have more patience, they can keep going with it and make beautiful pictures. And it's like reproduction of the photo, but in pencil, and so it looks great. Really careful copying, basically. So if that's what you want to do, that's great. A lot of people get stuck there because what can happen is the pictures are impressive, and then people go, wow, and then you get that validation, and you go, I just want to do that, I'll just do this more. The problem is there's nothing of you in there. The whole point of this is when you look at anything, including a face, you're seeing something interesting in there. You're seeing something that I don't see. When I look at your art, I want to see the world through your eyes. I love looking at art because I get to see the world through all these different people's eyes. Different things that they imagined or different things they found beautiful or interesting or scary or whatever it is. This is what I want. I don't really just want a faithful reproduction of the photo because I could just look at photography for that, right? So there's not much room for the symbols to come in and ruin the picture, but there's also not much room for you to come in and make it your own. So in order to move on from this, you got to kind of take a step backwards and simplify, and that's what's in stage 3. Rather than copying all the details, rather than drawing 100% of what's in the reference, you're going to bring it down to the most important and relevant 5% of what's in the reference, which there's different versions of this, But for me, is to simplify the forms and planes of the head first. So what does this mean for me in practice? And this is what we teach in our portrait course, is like we'll throw down a big simple form for the overall head. It's kind of like a bit of a modified Loomis type head. Then we'll move into like the forms of the cheeks, put the eyeballs into sockets, like, yeah. Think about the sort of round shape under the mouth and the ball shape in the chin. And we're going to sculpt out the big, simple forms and planes of the head using some Riley rhythms. That's what. But some people will focus on skulls and really thinking about skull studies and stuff like that. There are different ways of doing this. But the point is, we're going to go from all the stuff that you see in the picture to a really, really, really simplified version that captures what really matters. So instead of lots, there will be no details. There'll be just the big picture stuff, and then you'll sculpt into that, you know, the sort of medium importance stuff, and you'll get most of the face that way. And actually, in our course, we spend like, if it's an 8-week course, we spend 4 weeks with no features. So people are like, oh my God, when are we going to get to actually draw the eye and draw the lips and the mouth, right? And the nostrils? I'm like, not yet, not yet. Because there's so much bigger, simpler stuff going on that we need to capture first. And we don't want to get caught in that symbol trap. The symbols of the face back in stage 1, they were all about eyelashes, iris, nostrils, shape of the lips. We don't want to get drawn into that. We want to think about the bigger stuff, right? The simpler stuff. So this is stage 3. And at this stage, you can also simplify the light and dark. So an easy way to get into this is to use one single light source across the face, creates clear lip part, shadow part, and you separate the picture into light and dark, and and you really simplify those shapes as well. And so now we've got really simple forms with a really simple light source across. Cool. So now we can move on to stage 4, where we start to get into some edge design and shape design ideas. So here we're learning about these principles, like with the edges of your shadow shape, you can soften the form shadow edge and keep the cast shadow edge sharp and crisp. And you can keep the sort of outline edge sharp and crisp as well. And this kind of adds quite a lot of really nice form and stuff like that. And you're starting to see all the different things you can do with edges. You don't have to just do this stuff, by the way. Like when I say one light source and this shadow shape and light shape, and when I say like you can soften these edges and keep those, this is just a good way to learn the ideas and learn the principles. And then later on, you'll be able to play with them and do whatever you like. You can have evenly lit faces. You can have all kinds of stuff, right? Shape design. So you can start to think about, oh, how I can actually choose a lot of these shapes. I can modify almost, or I can put them down in a way that I think is interesting, right? So you get more control over your picture because you're choosing the shapes that you use to represent what's in there. And the reason you can do that is you're not just copying everything anymore. You've simplified it to its underlying forms, and then you're bringing information back. And you can choose how much you bring it back, how much information you put in, and you can modify the design of it as you go. So it's very exciting. But at this stage, you're still just learning principles and fundamentals and ideas. A lot of people get stuck at this stage too, because you can just keep going with this. Technical improvement, technical improvement. But I would like you to consider this. There are lots of great drawings and paintings out there. A lot of them are impressive. We all want to impress people, right? We want people to go, wow. That's all I want, is people to look at my stuff and go, oh. But there's some stuff which you just love. And it's not really clear why you love it. It's not necessarily superior to any of the other stuff. And someone else might come along and not love it. This is completely normal in music. All right, in music, you got, I don't really like that kind of music and I like this kind of music. I just love this song. I don't know why I love this song necessarily, but this song is good, is what the one I love, even though it's not technically superior to others. Whereas for some reason in drawing and painting, a lot of it's about the wow factor and how impressive it is. And people, aren't as focused on just what do I love and what do I not love. There is some of that, but a lot of artists are kind of going for being impressive rather than from the heart. If you make, it kind of sounds cheesy, but if to go from stage 4 to stage 5, I think you need to be pulled forward by what you personally love. So this is not going to be about following a course or a tutorial. It's going to be about really believing in what you care about, believing that it matters, and then putting it down as it is, not trying to think about what other people want you to make or what's impressive, but what you genuinely love and care about. And what's amazing about that is when I get to see your picture, I can see the world through your eyes as well, and I will either love it or I won't. But the point is, I want to do that. I want to see the world through your eyes. It's a bit like when you meet lots of people and you like a lot of them are cool, but some of them you fall in love with and you don't know why. And you want to fall in love with who they really are, like for all their faults and for everything about them. And so in your drawings and paintings, the more sincere you can be, the more sincerely people can love it, So this is the transition from stage 4 to 5. I think I'm in that 4th stage. I quite struggle to get away from all the technical exercises and things like that and learning how to just follow what I really, really care about. So if you're in any of these stages, I think it's entirely doable for you to move up a stage. It basically, I think, requires quite a bit of work. Every single stage requires a lot of learning and exercises and work. But you can do it. You can totally 100% do it if you keep persevering. Sometimes I think people try to kind of leap forward to the 5th stage, to go straight to that personal expression without any of the skill, and they're gonna get bogged down in those symbols. They haven't yet rewired their brain away from those symbols, and so their stuff, as much as they're trying to be really interesting and, expressive, it ends up just basically being built on these generic symbols, which everybody has and isn't actually unique to them. So this is why I think you've got to go through these technical stages of skill building, and then you can do whatever you like, right? Like Picasso or someone, he could do he had all the skills, and then he could do whatever he wanted. And you knew that it was straight from what he was interested in because he had the power to do whatever he wanted. People who don't have those skills, they don't have the power to do whatever they want. So it ends up just being those downloaded symbols back from stage 1. If you want to learn how to get to that 4th stage, I can't help you with the 5th one really, but I'm going to help you get to that 4th one. Then check out our portrait course. It's one of the courses that I'm most proud of. I think it really works. I think is it the best portrait course in the world? I'm going to say so, even though I don't know that that's true. That seems to be how things work these days. You just say whatever rubbish pops into your head. So I'm going to say it's the best portrait course in the world, and you can't prove me wrong because it's subjective. But the truth is, it's very good. It's just good. So check it out. There's a link below. We've got tutorials about portraits on this channel as well. And if you want to learn to draw faces, do it because it's super fun. Oh, and there's another video up on the screen for you. Check it out, and I'll see you over there.